rapper known as Straight Drop wanted to be part of the CMG record label and is innocent. He places blame on a third defendant charged in Dolph's death, Hernandez Goven.
Yo Gotti wanted to sign Young Dolph at one time. Young Dolph considers himself as his own boss. He says no, and I think Yo Gotti took a...
Prosecutors say the rapper's murder was ordered after he wrote lyrics that disrespected someone from a...
Welcome to the GossUp channel. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We're growing with you and because of you. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to help us reach 1,000 subscribers. Once we hit that milestone, a special prize will be waiting for you. Stay tuned. And now, let's get into the topic. After being let out on a $90,000 bond, Hernandez Goven, the man folks say masterminded Young Dolph's murder, straight up skipped his court date on July 28, 2025, and the judge didn't show an ounce of mercy. Meanwhile, Yo Gotti still ain't said a single word denying his name being tied to that hit on Dolph. Not one. So now we gotta ask, is this just another street beef gone too far, or are we staring dead in the face of Memphis rap's biggest setup in years? This mess been brewing since 2021 when Dolph got gunned down in cold blood. Now all eyes are locked on Hernandez Goven. He's claiming he's not guilty, but prosecutors ain't buying it. They say he's the one who set the whole thing up. The streets are talking, and the word is Goven put the hit in motion with a $100,000 bounty allegedly bankrolled by Anthony Big Jook Mims, Yo Gotti's own big brother. Young Dolph, real name Adolph Thornton Jr., was gunned down on November 17, 2021, inside Makita's homemade butter cookies in South Memphis. And let's be real, this wasn't no robbery. This looked like a straight-up hit. Cops eventually linked 4 names to Dolph's murder. Justin Johnson, aka Straight Drop, who they say pulled the trigger. Cornelius Smith, accused of being both the getaway driver and another shooter. Shundale Barnett, listed as an accessory. And of course, Hernandez Goven, the one allegedly calling the shots. They say Big Jook gave the green light, sent the bounty to Goven, who then handed it off to Johnson and Smith. And this ain't just street talk. It came straight from Cornelius Smith's own mouth in a sworn proffer. Multiple outlets exploded with the story once court docs dropped in mid-2024. On September 23, 2024, the courtroom went dead silent as Cornelius Smith hit the stand. And what he said? Straight jaw-dropping. He admitted that he and Justin Johnson were the masked men caught on surveillance outside Makita's homemade butter cookies, the same spot where Young Dolph was ambushed and murdered in broad daylight on November 17, 2021. The footage showed him stepping out a white Mercedes right after Dolph pulled in and then unleashing bullets. Smith told the jury that Dolph got hit 22 times before collapsing all alone on that pavement. He confirmed it was them in the video, no dodging it. Said they were each promised $40,000 for the hit. And Goven, he took his own cut too, $10,000 from each shooter just for being the middleman in a cold-blooded setup. Smith dropped the bomb in court, said he only saw $800 from that hit before getting locked up. Meanwhile, his lawyer got wired $50,000 from Big Jook after the murder went down. Smith opened up about where his head was at, grieving the death of his 9-year-old son, popping pills to numb the pain and desperate to survive. I wasn't feeling nothing at the time. I was just trying to get some money, he admitted when they asked how the murder felt. Justin Johnson, the alleged triggerman, was facing first-degree murder, conspiracy, and weapons charges. His lawyer went hard, saying the video didn't prove identity, and that Smith was just trying to save himself, but the jury wasn't buying it. On September 26, 2024, they hit Johnson with guilty on all counts and sentenced him to life behind bars. Just 4 days after Smith's explosive confession, the verdict dropped, and all eyes turned straight to Hernandez Goven. Smith didn't just name him, he connected him. Goven wasn't some background player. He was the one moving pieces, giving out payment instructions, meeting with Johnson and Smith face-to-face, and making sure Big Jook's bounty plan stayed in motion. Court records say Goven's now indicted on first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and attempted murder, all tied to how he allegedly set the whole thing up behind the scenes. The paper trail, the meetups, the sworn statements, it all adds up. Prosecutors say this is why Goven ain't just involved. He's the mastermind. Johnson's already convicted. Jamarcus Johnson pled guilty. And Goven, he's next in line. Now all eyes are locked on Goven because at this point, he's the only one left who can confirm or deny the whole damn conspiracy. And guess what? His own words ain't doing him any favors. Back in 2022, before Dolph's murder, Goven posted some real cryptic stuff on Facebook, talking about sacrifices and becoming a god. When questioned in court, he brushed it off as just artistic expression. But prosecutors ain't buying that. They're pushing hard to bring those posts into the trial. At first, Goven got denied bail, but by May 2024, he somehow scored a $90,000 bond and wasted no time posting it. The judge gave him bond, but only under strict house arrest and round-the-clock ankle monitoring. Still, the streets weren't having it. Social media lit up with anger. People were shocked that someone accused of plotting the murder of a loved public figure like Dolph could just walk around free before trial. Originally, Goven was supposed to face trial on July 28, 2025, but after more delays, it's now been pushed to August 18th. Court watchers dug up the public filings, and legal insiders are whispering that this delay ain't random. Either the defense is buying time to tear apart witness credibility, or prosecutors are cooking up a full-blown RICO-style case to take down even more names. The real bombshell dropped in June 2024. During a proffer interview, Cornelius Smith named Goven directly. He said Goven sat down with him and straight dropped multiple times, broke down the plan, and told them straight up, Big Jook's dropping $100K to take Dolph out. Smith even said Goven promised they'd be protected from any blowback, allegedly claiming it was all cleared from the top. That lines up too perfectly with what folks in Memphis been whispering since day one. Right after Dolph was murdered, rumors flew that Yo Gotti, or someone real close to him, was involved. The beef between Dolph and Gotti had been bubbling for years, especially after 2017 when Dolph dropped that diss track, Play With Yo B. That same year, Dolph got shot in LA, but he made it out alive that time. Memphis ain't just watching this case, it's divided. Young Dolph wasn't just another rapper, he was the people's champ, a real one. Every Thanksgiving, he gave out turkeys to families in need. He bought up foreclosed homes and flipped them into housing for the community. And through his Paper Route Empire label, he put other local artists on. Now compare that to Hernandez Goven, a name that's always stirred controversy. Even before this case, he'd been linked to drug plots and gang moves, though never officially convicted. His own daughter, rising rapper Lotta Cash Desto, was shot and murdered in Houston back in 2022. Goven later posted online that her death was spiritual karma for things he had done. That post got deleted, but prosecutors kept the receipts, and now they're using his own words against him in court. Now here's what's really at stake. If convicted, Hernandez Goven's looking at life behind bars with no shot at parole. And a widely shared report from moguldom.com just added more fuel to the fire. The article, titled Popular Hip-Hop YouTuber, Here's How the Pieces Link CMG and Yo Gotti to Young Dolph's Murder, broke down some wild connections that got fans buzzing. According to the report, Goven allegedly had direct contact with CMG associates, his daughter being murdered in 2022. Some say that was a retaliation hit, tied to deeper street politics. And get this, Big Jook and Goven had both been seen at multiple events together in Memphis. Nothing's officially confirmed, but the signs are all pointing the same way. This wasn't no random beef. Goven's link to Dolph might have run way deeper than anyone realized. This beef ran way deeper than music. Memphis ain't just a city. It's a chessboard full of alliances, history, and old grudges. Young Dolph stood for Paper Route Empire, a fully independent movement climbing fast enough to start shaking the throne of Yo Gotti's CMG collective music group. These two had been trading shots for years, in lyrics and allegedly in real life. Fans online still bring up the 2017 Hollywood shooting where Dolph got hit multiple times, or the wild shootout in Charlotte where over 100 bullets tore through his SUV. No direct ties to CMG were ever proven, but the streets remember the timing, and the tension never let up. What you gotta realize is, the beef between Yo Gotti and Young Dolph wasn't just about bars, it had real street consequences. It all started when Gotti tried to sign Dolph, but Dolph wasn't having it. He turned it down, and Gotti, he took that personally. Ever since, it's been straight war. Let's take it back real quick. In 2017, Dolph got shot outside the Loews Hotel in Hollywood. Cops listed Yo Gotti as a person of interest, but somehow he walked. No charges. Still, that moment said everything. Dolph didn't hold back. He dropped "Play with Yo B," a brutal diss aimed straight at Gotti, calling him jealous, weak, and fake. Gotti took that as pure disrespect. And now, with his own brother allegedly tied to what might be the biggest hit in Memphis rap history, that whole beef is under a blazing spotlight. Even though the courts haven't linked Yo Gotti directly to the murder, fans and bloggers ain't letting it slide. Conspiracy heads online claim CMG used shell companies to move money down to street-level hitters, and there's talk that sealed phone records could reveal way more contact between Gotti, Big Jook, and Goven than anybody expected. So with all that in the mix, the idea that Big Jook gave the green light, to most in Memphis, it don't sound far-fetched at all. Ever since Goven's name hit the courtroom and Big Jook got dragged into the public conversation, fans been asking the same question: where's Yo Gotti in all this? He stayed completely silent. No interviews, no statements, and not even a glimpse near the courthouse. Some fans even clocked that Gotti hasn't been seen anywhere in Memphis since the trial updates started grabbing headlines. Then came the twist no one saw coming. In January 2024, Anthony Big Jook Mims was gunned down outside a Memphis funeral home. Reports said he was just days away from being called in for questioning. Local news confirmed it. Big Jook was murdered in a targeted hit, and after that, the silence got even louder. That's when things really got shady. Conspiracy theories started flying. Some folks online saying Big Jook's murder wasn't just revenge, but a cleanup job to silence key voices before they could talk. Now with Big Jook gone and Yo Gotti staying quiet as a ghost, all eyes are locked on Hernandez Goven, and some are wondering if he's next. Right after Dolph's death in November 2021, Memphis was on edge. Rumors of retaliation swept the streets, and cops had to post up heavy at Yo Gotti's restaurant just to keep the city from erupting. No official attacks were confirmed, but by June 2023, bodies started dropping. Several names tied to the case, whether suspects or persons of interest, ended up dead. One of them was Joshua CEO TZ Taylor, a man investigators believed could have connected the dots between Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith. He was found shot inside his car in Orange Mound, another piece of the puzzle gone. Then rewind to years earlier. Lotta Cash Desto, Goven's daughter and a rising Houston rapper, was murdered in broad daylight. Goven later posted eerie, cryptic messages online talking about spiritual consequences for his past. Now with bodies piling up and messages like that, fans are convinced this ain't random. It's starting to look like a full-blown chain of revenge, silence, and unfinished business. Once court testimony dropped, especially with Cornelius Smith name-dropping both Big Jook and Goven, the internet exploded. Memes, tweets, and YouTube exposés were everywhere. One viral tweet hit hard. Yo Gotti's name ain't in court, but his whole camp stay getting dragged. Memphis ain't blind. That tweet came from Charis Levi on X, and it lit a fire. Titles like Yo Gotti is hiding started trending, with folks saying the deeper Goven talks, the closer the heat gets to somebody higher up. Now let's be clear, these are theories, not confirmed facts. But with missing posts, quiet agencies, and big names going ghost, People are convinced something big is being covered. And one thing's for sure, Young Dolph never folded to CMG. Dolph didn't just reject CMG, he called them out, even dropping diss tracks aimed at their number 2, Big Jook. And now, Cornelius Smith says that $100,000 bounty came straight from Big Jook, funneled through Goven. Yet here we are. Goven's out on bond. His trial keeps getting pushed back. Big Jook's dead, and Yo Gotti still hasn't said a word. Meanwhile, Dolph's label and legacy just keep rising. But the streets and social media are going wild. Folks believe this hit wasn't just personal. It was fueled by a major label war. And while none of it's confirmed yet, fans say it's only a matter of time. If Goven flips or drops a bombshell in court, this ain't just about Memphis anymore. Some believe it could spark a federal takedown if prosecutors tie Big Jook's alleged moves to a larger CMG-connected pattern of violence. This is where things get real. RICO charges could be next. Prosecutors love pulling that move on record labels living double lives. And right now, Yo Gotti's smartest play might be staying far out the spotlight. But if Goven decides to flip to save himself, that silence Gotti's been keeping could come back to bite hard. Now the spotlight's burning on Goven, his legal team's under pressure to tear the state's case apart and plant serious doubt. Their defense is simple: no direct proof, no footage of Goven giving orders, no calls caught setting up the hit, no solid money trail tying him to that alleged $10,000 payout. They're betting everything on one angle. No hard evidence means no conviction, but with all eyes on him, that might not be enough. The defense keeps hammering one point. The only person pointing at Goven is Cornelius Smith, a cooperating witness who had everything to gain. Smith was facing serious charges of his own, and the defense says he might have told prosecutors exactly what they wanted to hear just to shave time off his sentence. They've also been raising alarms about bias in Memphis. This city is still raw over Dolph's death, and with all the media heat, they argue there's no way to get a fair trial here. They even tried to move the case to another county, but the judge shut it down. Still, that motion shows just how shook Goven's team is about public perception. And now, the trial clock is ticking. This trial's been shifting like quicksand. It was originally set for March 10th, 2025, then got pushed to July.
Continues for the alleged mastermind behind the killing of Memphis rapper Young Dolph. Goven is facing several charges, including first-degree murder for the 2021 shooting. Goven, one of the prime suspects in the rapper's death, is now out of jail on a 9
attempts made on Young Dolph's life, and he survived.
And now it's locked in for August 18th, 2025. The defense insists these delays ain't stalling, they're necessary. Time to tear into Smith's credibility and make sure every piece of discovery is fully reviewed. Goven already turned down a plea deal back in late 2023, either because his legal team's confident they can wreck the state's case, or they're waiting for someone else to crack first. One of their biggest plays? Breaking down the chain of custody around the accusations. They're aiming to show that Smith's word is the only thing tying Goven to the murder, and that without solid proof or outside records to back it, it all falls apart. Smith's money trail and all his inconsistencies, the defense is locked in on them, ready to rip it apart in cross-examination. They're also questioning whether his memory got shaped by others or twisted after cutting that plea deal. And now, Goven's lawyers are bringing in character as part of their play. During multiple pre-trial hearings, even the judge described Goven as calm, respectful, and composed, traits his defense wants the jury to notice. The one slip-up, that missed court date. But behind the scenes, they're hoping it won't tank his credibility. Word is they might be prepping expert witnesses, maybe a forensic psychologist or an independent investigator, to dig into how shaky Smith's testimony really is. And if they can get those phone records subpoenaed, you better believe they'll be combed through line by line. Even the smallest slip-up could shake the prosecution's whole story. And the next major moment hits mid-August 2025. That's when both sides have to lock in their expert witness lists and finalize jury instructions. This is where the real chess match starts. Expect long, intense jury selection, with lawyers laser-focused on weeding out anyone who's already biased, and in a case this public, that ain't easy. Meanwhile, online legal YouTubers like Just Say No Toko and Set D Record Straight been picking apart court transcripts. They're pointing out all the cracks, missing video evidence, timeline gaps, sketchy statements from Smith, and how his story keeps shifting. The streets and the internet are watching every move. If Goven's legal team can shred Smith's credibility, his motives, his memory, or his shaky timeline, they just might tip the scales. Their mission is clear: plant enough reasonable doubt to block a conviction, even if jurors still find parts of the story suspicious. If they pull it off, that life sentence without parole suddenly ain't guaranteed. But don't get it twisted. The stakes are still deadly serious. Prosecutors still got that surveillance footage showing Smith and Johnson at the scene, and they're planning to drop phone logs and financial records too, if they can. Anything that might hint Goven was in contact with the shooter crew. With the burden of proof sitting squarely on the state, even one slip could crack the whole case wide open. At this point, Goven's legal play is crystal clear: discredit the only eyewitness, expose holes in the prosecution's discovery, and keep his cool in court. His decision to reject that plea deal, that screams either major confidence or a massive gamble. Because if he loses, that life sentence is almost a guarantee. As the trial date creeps closer, everything hangs on this strategy. Goven's future might come down to one question: will the jury believe Cornelius Smith is telling the truth, or just a desperate man saying whatever he needs to save himself? Young Dolph still stands tall in Memphis, even in death. He wasn't just a rapper, he was a movement. Built paper route empire on his own terms, handed out turkeys every Thanksgiving, and paid to fix up whole blocks. His legacy? Locked in. Posthumous releases keep his voice alive, while murals and community projects continue to echo his presence. But Dolph's shadow now looms heavy over those accused of taking him out. Justin Johnson already got hit with a life sentence plus 35 years. The court saw it as a cold-blooded hit driven by ego and a six-figure payday. Jamarcus Johnson, Justin's half-brother, got off with probation for helping the suspects after the hit. If he finishes his diversion program, his record could get wiped clean. Meanwhile, Cornelius Smith, the prosecution's star witness, ain't walking free either. He still faces trial and prison time, just with a lighter sentence thanks to that cooperation deal. Now all eyes turn to Hernandez Goven. In just weeks, he's stepping back into court, and the internet's already buzzing. Many believe his testimony could be the game changer. If he cracks, confesses, or gets found guilty, the story around CMG, street politics, and this entire murder web locks into place. But if he walks, some might say he was the fall guy all along, the lone scapegoat in a storm way bigger than just one man. The streets are tense, chaos bubbling from years of unresolved beef, and Yo Gotti's silence feels like either strategy or intimidation. But one thing's clear: this won't end with Goven's verdict. Everyone connected to Dolph, CMG, or Memphis rap history is watching this unfold closely, because what happened to Young Dolph didn't just end a life, it shook an entire era. What started with Dolph's murder lit a firestorm: legal battles, cultural divides, spiritual weight, and street-level chaos. Chapter by chapter, we followed the web of shooters, witnesses, and alleged masterminds. And now, we see how the fallout still haunts Memphis and keeps the internet blazing. If you made it this far, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your thoughts in the comments below.